unveiled yesterday, and we have been told that about 30 states of the federation have
31 states.
31 states, including the FCT, are prone to this flooding. Of course, we have seen rain. Rain has started already.
Yes, it has.
So, and I don't think we can add injury upon what we are already experiencing in the country. The sufferness is so high, the hardship is so much. Now we are talking about rain. For rain to now add more to what we are already experiencing, adding injury to salt. So God forbid, but whether we like it or not, the rain will come, the rain will fall.
Yes.
It is just for us to be proactive in ensuring that it doesn't cause more damage than expected for us.
Now, I just want to add something quickly to what my good brother is saying. You see, NIMET is doing their job. The job of NIMET stops at giving this data, this alert, okay, through meteorological information to the public about the possibilities of disaster. But we need disaster management agencies to now take up this issue. All the federal government institutions that are involved in management of crisis, trauma, disaster, they all have to be on deck. The social welfare units of the federal government has to be the social welfare ministries, those ministries that control social welfare, humanitarian services. They have to be on deck. There has to be a monitoring over or across the nation to find out where these problems are already emerging. There are some states that are highly prone. There are some states that are medium prone, and there are some that are not really prone to these disasters. Okay, there has to be a management of the disaster, the protection agencies, the protection. I don't know how to put it. The protection plan. All right, for these disasters, and then also the majority of the community has to be engaged, enlightened. Okay, so you may have to evacuate some of these people from their communities. Now, there has to be settlement plans. There has to be arrangement of where you are moving them to. How to evacuate them and all of that. And it's a whole lot.
Okay, hold that thought. You can join in the conversation because this is not something that is just us right here in the studio. It affects you. It's affecting about 31 plus the FCT states in Nigeria. And we're talking about the federal government warning that there would be a huge flooding situation. This was by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, who has come out to issue severe warning disaster. Well, 0705 6900927 is the number to call. Let us see who's calling. Hello, good morning. All right, we lost that call, but you can call in 0705 6900927. We're speaking about NIMET. Now, NIMET is the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, and they have come out to issue a 3-day severe warning alert by heavy rainfall and strong winds in different regions from Friday, Lagos being one of them. Do you think that NIMET's information, the timeliness of their information is wrong? Because if they're telling us today and saying that, from now until November is when this is going to happen, do you think their timing is wrong?
It will depend on when they got that data.
Do you think that they should have done a little more to ensure that this data is out there?
Now, we have a lot of satellites that can project and, assess the
weather
climate,
forecast.
weather situations, even ahead. We have a lot of those satellites that can project, that can determine what will be the kind of weather you will expect in the next 6 months, in the next 5 months. All right? Based on present data that they have. And it's a projection most times. And unfortunately, those who are in charge of this kind of data is only when it's almost, the event is almost happening that they come out with those information.
Okay, but I'm also seeing something with regards to the Ekiti government, the Oyebanji's government, assuring Ido Ekiti residents of flood control through waterway dredging. Now, he also, there was a commendation by Mr. Oyebanji for his proactive approach and timely approval of the waterway dredging. Now, the Ekiti State Environmental Protection Agency, EXEPA, says the ongoing dredging of waterways at Alakpo Igo Lane 5 in Ido Ekiti aims to curb flooding in the area. So something is being done from the state level.
That is not enough.
But let's take this quick call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Toby calling from Bariga.
Oh, Toby from Bariga. Fantastic to have you on the show this morning. All right, Toby, talk to us. What is your submission on this case?
Okay, what I would say is like our government, they will leave what matters, and do what does not matter to us.
How
now,
so?
We have been battling with appointment and everything all this while. Why we are going into where rainy season is coming, where things should be looked into. We see what developed countries are doing all over the world. There will be places for, okay, if there is a disaster, this is where we put these people. There's no measure like that in Nigeria. Any disaster happen, you're on your own. The state that I pity most now is Lagos State and Lokoja and these people, these Yaya Bello's people.
Oh, Benue.
There's no dredging in that state. There's no ocean dredging. Whatever there's any flood, the whole city is flooded. And government.
Oh, Toby, you may need to call us back. 0705 6900927. 0705 6900927 is the number to call. Well, if you're just tuning in, it is the Spotlight right here on the Super Breakfast Show. And I'm not alone. Dealing with these issues in Nigeria is Barrister Deji Olale, who is the university lecturer and public affairs analyst, and Mr. Taiwo Olakpade, who's a broadcast journalist and public affairs commentator. And this conversation around the flooding situation in Nigeria, which has now been brought to light by the federal government, warning states. So should states take on this by themselves or proactive measures for them to put in place ahead of even years to come?
Well, I think regularly states across the federation should take it upon themselves to do a regular dredging of the canals. Very important. The silting of the drainages and the likes. And this regular evacuation of waste, like we see in Lagos State, that's the LOMA, the Lagos State Waste Management Authority.
Okay.
We expect that if all these proactive measures have been done over time, of course, these alerts or these threats coming from NIMET rather, will just be something like we have already done the needful
ahead of time.
But because we are always caught in the act, we always wait for the last minute to do what we're supposed to have done. So that's the reason why NIMET is also telling us, and I also want to recall that even over the years, we have seen repeated warnings, repeated alerts or alarm, as the case may be, and yet we see when the rain comes, we still, experience so much of this. You gave us the figure of the number of deaths recorded. I think
1.2 million.
Number of deaths,
yes,
recorded. 2024, and number of people displaced by this flooding. So how come that we cannot be proactive enough in trying to also curb or reduce the menace?
Because there were about 300 fatalities, 1.2 million people in the 31 states.
Even in developed society, in developed countries, we have seen the way flooding has ravaged their community, destroyed their properties, even claimed some lives. We are talking about countries that has the power to really forecast. But when God says the water is coming, there is nothing you can do about it. But in our own case, that even some attitude of some resident of Lagos, of course I stay in Lagos, I can say much of Lagos, that when they see rain coming like this, they pack their refuse, their garbage,
now
and
that is one thing that we need to do.
Into the drains, into the canals, hoping that the water will take it away. No, it is not. Because whether you like it or not, at the point that will be a stumbling block, and this water, because we have blocked the drains with our refuse, with our garbage, with our nonsense, whatever, the water will surely come back to us. If water cannot find its level, we must find it in one way or the other. So that's why I expect Lagos State government to be more proactive in ensuring that those who have cultivated the habit of dumping refuse indiscriminately into their gutters or drains and the like should be arrested and prosecuted. Name them and shame them, so that can serve as deterrence to others. Because if you don't do this, illegal acts of someone can lead the entire community into a disaster.
I definitely agree with you on that, because I did see a video of someone in Surulere. It was a particular compound. It was a video of them taking out their trash when the rain was falling and putting it into the gutters. And they thought it was going away. And thankfully, the Lagos State government actually sealed that house and made sure that they paid a fine for doing that.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I see something about the dredging of major dams that the NILSD DG canvassed for on the 28th of January 2025. Does it mean that we don't listen to all of this information? Because the Director General of National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, Professor Abubakar Suleiman, had called for dredging of major rivers and dams in the country to avert the adverse effect of flooding in Nigeria. So some people have come out to say this as far back as January. We are in April. If state governments had decided to dredge or listen to this man, wouldn't it have been better for us to actually curb all of this before it's right here in our faces?
Now, let me say this, that one of the basic problems that affect this question of flooding, or this problem of flooding, is the fact that this drainage, this dredging, whatever you call it, is not going to work. Because it's not going to work because the reason is simply this. Nigeria does not have a channelization plan. No city has it. Or canalization
dredging, where's the
plan.
water going?
So when you dredge, where is the water going to end?
Now that's a good question.
Where is the water going to end? If you make all these gutters we are building now, many of them are not even connected to each other.
Right.
So it's still the same thing. When you drain or dredge and you leave it to a point and the flood level gets to a higher level, you will still have flooding. It's only the only difference is that you will have channeled the flood from a particular place to another place. So there is no outfloat. So that's the major problem. And this is it is a scientific plan. It's the way you plan a city. That's the same way you plan all these drainages.
So there's obviously blueprints as to where this water should
There has to
go.
be. If there is no blueprint, you are just dredging.
So has the government even done anything to
It's not going to solve any problem.
Okay.
It's not going to solve any, and that's where the problem is. Most of these channels or gutters that you see or you find, they don't have an outfloat to anywhere.
So I'm just in a fix right now, thinking of whether or not we're in trouble, because I mean, so many houses out there, so many families out there who are living in flood-prone areas are on the verge of not just losing their homes, but possibly even losing their lives. Well, I mean, I'll go on to say what Mr. Suleiman, who is he had said something saying that the dredging would avert the ravaging impact of flood and erosion that usually accompanied by the country's rainfall cycle. They say, whereas many stakeholders have recognized the need for dredging of major rivers and dams, the commitment of public funds in this direction has been poor. Now, he goes on to say that, for instance, the total of 14.85 trillion naira was proposed for capital expenditure in the 2025 budget of the federal government of Nigeria, but only 0.03% is committed to projects aimed at dredging major rivers and dams. So, I mean, is the public, first of all, I want to ask one question. Is the public responsible for all of this, especially with the fact that people are pushing their dirt through the water, especially when rain falls? And if 14.8 trillion naira was proposed as capital expenditure by the federal government and only 0.03% is committed to dredging major rivers and dams, where are we at?
Well, it's not like we are sounding alarmist, but whether we like it or not,
it's alarming.
Whether we like it or not, the danger is already at our doorstep. And whether we like it or not, I'm not sounding like a prophet of doom. We will see this flood ravaging, destroying properties, destroying lives. It's already here. The rains are here already. So, and talking about maybe moving or relocating people from
evacuation
flood-prone areas, we have seen that over times in Lagos, that when water is being released from Oyo Dam in Ogun State, the Lagos State government will tell people living around Ejirin, Kosi, Agilete, Mile 12, Ikorodu, and the likes, those axes, they will tell them move from, because Lagos is also low-lying states.
Oh, yes.
Whether you like it or not, any little rain or any little whatever will affect Lagos more than some other state of the federation. So government will say, you people kindly relocate. And people are asking, where do they also relocate to? I know we also have settlement camp centers in somewhere around Ayobo, Ipaja, or Limosho, but how big enough is that place to accommodate millions of people that are likely to be affected? And we are saying that even when water is being released from Oyo Dam or even the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon, people are saying government should have also constructed some even buffer zone, a smaller dam that when this water is being released can also absorb, so to reduce the level of damage. But over the years we have not done that. And when dam is filled to capacity, the best option and the best practice even all over the world is for you to take charge and release, rather than allowing the dam to collapse. If the dam collapses, the danger will be more devastating than you taking charge and releasing this water, maybe little by little. But when the water is also being released, it also causes a lot of damage to people, particularly that lives around where that particular dam is located. So it's sincerely,
with
we're
all
in
of this,
very troubled times.
We are in troubled times.
Very troubled time.
Mr. Taiwo Lakpade is asserting that we are in troubled times.
That's the reality.
No,
that's the reality. And God forbid, a state like Lagos, where we have repeated building collapse, you also notice that it is when there is massive rainfall that we see buildings, particularly in Lagos Island.
True.
These are buildings that are being constructed with very new enough, all this, not
authentic.
Not,
exactly.
that's
Unauthentic
way to
materials.
put it.
Yes.
So I'm afraid, sincerely, I'm afraid. And if government are not being proactive enough, I'm afraid what is likely to happen, particularly to a state like Lagos, and particularly Lagos Island, where we have building being constructed within 3 or 4 months. You see a building of 3 or 4 story, and that are being built with low quality materials. Shoddy jobs are being done. And when the rains are massive, whether you like it or not, buildings that are not well constructed will surely give way.
Now, the drainage system in the side of the road, there's drainage. The
People
other
have
side
also built on some of these drainage.
Exactly.
People have built on them. People
some
have encroached on some of these drainage channels. They've built on them.
Now, there's a particular spot at, I think, Lagos Island. Now that you mentioned Lagos Island, I remember going there, and year in, year out, there's always water on that road. Of course. Because there's no proper drainage system. So do you think that that's one of the problems as to why this flooding will even affect Lagos even more than some other states around the West?
Definitely. I know there are channels, there are drainages that are being built over the years. But the major problem has been also encroachment. And nobody is bigger than government, whether you like it or not. And that's where government must come and do the needful. All those areas that have been encroached upon, which are drainage channel lines, there is no reason why all those buildings shouldn't give way to save the other residents. Because what we have seen over time is I think about myself rather than thinking about the community where I live.
Okay.
Because of this personal interest, people do things and believing that nothing will happen. And sincerely, nothing will surely happen. Because government sometimes also, because of maybe the political affiliation, they say, he's our man, he's our person, leave him. And in the long run, the society will suffer.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What is your name and where are you calling us from? Mr. Ben, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Fantastic. All right, you want to chime in on this?
So what?
You want to go on, what do you think about this?
Yes, I want to talk. Good morning to your guest.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right. I want to talk about this flood. Because 2012 destroyed everything in this country. From 2012 to date, how many years? 13 years ago. And today, 2025, we're talking of the same flood. In 2022, flood destroyed everything in this country. Crops, properties. Even Jonathan, former president, were using canoe to research in Bayelsa. Snake, kill people, flood. We don't know what this is talking about. It's not what we should be talking about. We have cases of open defecation. This flood will bring out all sorts of rubbish, and the human being will be living inside it. All the sewage waters, every rubbish, all the dead people in the forest, flood will bring out all these decayed elements. And the human being will be living inside it. Wild animals.
An alligator was seen in Lekki phase 1 here. A crocodile. I beg your pardon, a crocodile.
Do you know that the government is not doing anything? Have you seen any dam in this Lagos? You're talking of dam. Have you seen any dam in this Lagos? The Tinubu took over 2023. How many dams have Tinubu constructed? Julius Berger is there to construct dams. Do you know the importance of dams? Do you know what is called mechanized farming? All-season farming. When you store water during dry season, it is this dam that will supply you artificial rain to plant. Nigeria is an agri-based country. We are not doing anything. This is what is supposed to be a blessing for us. It's not a cause for us. We are talking of desert encroachment in the north.
Okay.
And at the same time, in another breath, we're talking of flood destroying properties in the same north. It is why Planning herdsmen are moving in the south to destroy farmland. It's because there is no water. At the same time, the same water is destroying. You're saying everybody, run for your life in the north. Flood will destroy you. The same flood destroyed everything.
All right, Mr. Ben. All right, Mr. Ben. Thank you so much. I mean, that is his submission.
Yes, I wanted to say that just exactly what I had in mind. That there is a lot of opportunity even with these disasters.
How so?
Yeah, good. If we are able to channel these waters for storage or for farming or for some...
Or even electricity, because there's an hydroelectric dam that converts potential energy stored in a water reservoir to actually bring electricity.
We can dam some of these waters. We can rechannel them for usage. You know, they can even be used for water supply if they are processed and all of that. But we are not doing that kind of out of the box thinking. Okay, most times people, the hardest, if I tell you, the hardest hit in Lagos is the Lekki people. For instance, when Lekki was conceived, some of us had cause to advise government against what was going on there, but they just didn't want to listen. Now, the problem they have created in Lekki is that if you dig the ground now, you will strike water. That's why it's so difficult to make gutters
around that
in Lekki, because the moment you start digging anything, you see
meet water.
So now, how do you channel the water? Where do you take it to? Even if you create drainages or you dredge and all of that, where do you lead it to? Are you going to lead it to the ocean? And if you lead it to the ocean, what if there is a disaster in the ocean? All the waters in the ocean will find an inlet.
Remember how we used to see how the Third Mainland Bridge water rises at some point?
It's a dilemma. And that's why government does not even want to do anything about it, because they know what they have created in Lekki. It's really unfortunate.
I mean, it feels as though we need to be talking about this a little more often so that they can hear and heed to the sound of our voices. Because if we've been talking about this year in, year out,
every year
we talk about flooding. Last year should have taught us a very bitter lesson to know that we needed to start dredging early. Yes. Now to agriculture, to health. The adverse effect of this flooding to agriculture.
The last speaker has said something that is interesting. That when this flood come, they come with all kinds of diseases and virus. Of course, defecation comes with all kind of refuse, the dumping of refuse and all of that. And most of this water are the waters that people drink. They overflow the streams,
right? You
know, and people go to the stream to fetch water to survive. There's no potable water anywhere. Even that Bayelsa is talking about, a lot of disaster, a lot of health issues in Bayelsa State that are not addressed. Most of the communities don't have water to drink and all of that. And some of the water they have, they are all polluted waters.
All right, let's take this quick call. Hello, good morning.
Please, Gogo Water Reservoir in Japan. And you will tell me why Tinubu should not construct such things in Nigeria. Under seconds, they will pump the whole water inside that reservoir. Gogo Water Reservoir in Japan and see what I'm telling you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr.
Those
Ben,
are the opportunities I was talking about. Now, the whole of the Netherlands, Belgium, they are built on water. Venice. These cities are major cities.
Right. Venice is only on, you can only commute via water.
Yes. So, I don't know, and it's not rocket science. If we get some of these hydrologists to come in, they can assist us a great deal. But government will not engage experts. That's the problem.
Oh, you don't think they engage experts?
There is only civil servants, and many of them are ignorant.
Okay. All right, now, what do we do to save ourselves as a people if the government is not going to come to our aid in situations like this? What is the way forward?
The people, there is nothing the people can do. They can't constitute a vanguard to handle this matter. It's impossible. Because it's scientific. It's a natural problem.
Okay, I mean, I'm seeing that the largest dam by structural volume in Japan is in Tokuyama Dam, and it has about 13,700,000 cubic meter, and that's about of rock fill. And Tokuyama also creates Japan's largest reservoir with a water volume of 660 million cube center.
Converting disaster into opportunity.
That is massive.
Yeah.
That is massive. And just like the barrister said, it's not a rocket science. You mentioned earlier the budget for, I think, is it environmental disaster or something like that.
0.7 or something like that.
So sometimes they will say budget
0.3% on dredging.
Budget estimate is different from budget released in the long run. But even the little that is being released, do we also use them judiciously? That's also
these are the questions.
Corruption is also a major problem. And you said, what should we be doing? What we should be doing is exactly what we are doing as the media.
Okay.
We set the agenda for the society. And by us talking about it, this public enlightenment, we need to also re-echo it in the minds of our people. And also the need for our people to also change their mindset, whether we like it or not.
Right, the people.
Whether we like it or not, the flood is not going to affect Sanwo-Olu. It's not going to affect President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It is you and I.
They can jet set.
The flood are likely going to affect if we rather collectively fail to do the needful. By doing the needful is also to check your residents, your communities, where people
waste disposal,
you know, how do we dispose our refuse? We must do that effectively. We must also call our local government authorities to question now. This is time for them to also wake up, because I know some of these environmental, whatever, also within the purview of the local government. This is the time for them to also desilt all our our canals, our drainages and the likes, and our gutter, as we call it locally. We used to have this wole.
Yes, when they see you doing such, they cost you.
I don't think they're also very effective like they used to do
back in the days.
I think the problem with that is that the state took over most of those functions from the local government.
And now that there's autonomy, rolling my eyes.
That's why there is that problem. Why it's not widespread. Like all environmental issue now, is the state that handles it. Environmental issues. So the local government are left.
They have been rendered
useless. The state will tell them, we are doing this service on your behalf. So they deduct whatever is the money given to them to do those things.
Hence the rise for the autonomy of the local government, because if these are the functions that they're supposed to be meting out to the grassroots.
We are the one taking care of your refuse. So this is how much we have spent in a month, and they deduct it from each local government instead of allowing the local government to take that responsibility.
But is it constitutional? Because if it's not constitutional, then why is the state government merging into the activities of the local government?
Okay, thank God for this question. The federal government, through the Minister for Justice, Chief SCN Lateef Fagbemi,
okay,
they got this landmark judgment from the Supreme Court. I mean, it's almost running about 8 months now.
Yeah.
That has given financial autonomy to local governments in the country. By our constitution, we have 774 local governments in Nigeria.
Okay.
But up till this present time that we speak, that verdict of the Supreme Court is yet to be upheld, is yet to be implemented. And the reason being that the CBN asks each local government in the country to submit their account directly to them, so that when the federal allocation that comes on a monthly basis can be directly paid into their account.
But some governors...
Not even all the governors, all of them, they are united, because that local government fund is where all the state governors are. There is no exception.
All of them.
I make bold to say it, because they easily believe that local government is just even like an addendum to the state.
Then the Supreme Court doesn't have power in Nigeria, if that is to say.
That's why I find it so unfortunate that a Supreme Court, the apex court in the land, gave a ruling, and we are talking about 8 months down the line, and this ruling is yet to take effect. And the Minister for Justice, SCN Lateef Fagbemi, is still saying that we are going to jail local government chairmen that mismanage the fund. What about the governors?
But
the governor that is known to all of us, that they live large on local government funds. What have you done to them?
We see that the CBN is also saying that local governments don't have their papers in order. And that's why that's the reason why they're not going to open their account for them.
None of them has that that power or that mind to say I want to submit my account to the CBN.
Are they being threatened?
Is even more than threatened. They don't have that power. And that is also because we also question the way some of them are also elected into office. Most of the local government election across board are just mere selection. And that's why people are also canvassing that maybe INEC can also take up that responsibility instead of we allowing, like Lagos now, we have LASEC, which is the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission. And they're even planning to do a local government election come, I think, August or September this year. You will see how APC, the ruling party, will have a landslide victory in local government and even the councillorship seat, and that's what is obtainable across board. We don't see a major election. What we see is election.
Okay.
And they say he who pays the piper dictates the tune. If I've come into office by the magnanimity of the governor, will I stand up to my right and say I want to challenge that same governor? There was a local government chairman in Ogun State, Mr. Adedayo, is also a journalist. He stood up to Governor Dapo Abiodun that they have been receiving zero allocation. What happened to him? He was initially suspended and later impeached. We saw a video of other council chairmen prostrating before the governor and saying we did not send him just because they know how they also got into office.
Okay, let's not deviate from the conversation. We're entering into local government autonomy, and I like that. That's a conversation for another day. But where is the National Orientation Council? They are not present. The National Orientation Agency.
You see, that's the sad thing. It's only when they want to be political that you see them. When in times of election, they come out, go and vote, get your card, all those things. But after that, patriotic. But after that, you won't see National Orientation Agency anymore.
That is such unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
And quite a lot of there are other disaster agencies too, like the National Disaster Management Agency. They are there, but they don't function.
Then why do we have people manning those roles?
And if you get to their offices, there are people working, carrying files from place to place.
But no work is being done.
You wonder what exactly they are doing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm still joined by two amazing men right here in the studio, experts in their own right. I mean, dissecting this issue about the situation of Lagos or Nigeria and the flooding system. Well, I have Dr. Barrister Deji Olale, who's a university lecturer and public affairs analyst. Maybe doctor is about to be in the PhD. Okay, and then we have Taiwo Olakpade, Mr. Taiwo Olakpade, who is a broadcast journalist and public affairs commentator. Well, it lies in your hands as well as mine, as individuals of a particular state or as Nigerians. Sanitation is important. Why are you tossing trash? Personal hygiene. Exactly. You cannot, because now the federal government is saying, we're warning you. State governments are doing, I don't know that dredging is supposed to be one of the things I'm supposed to do. Local governments are not giving the orientation.
So telling us, take up the responsibility.
Take up the responsibility. Ensure that at least to a large extent, you do your own part. Don't build on drainages. Your house, there's one in Lekki Phase 1. I did see one Lekki Phase 1. Like the entire axis, there's water every other day. This person literally built an edifice on a drainage. How are you that? Okay, I'm even going to even fault the government in all of this, because when you go to the Surveyor General's office and you carry your file and say, I want to build this house in this location, there's no inspection whatsoever. Or bribery and corruption at the end of the day is... how so? How are we doing this in Nigeria? Well, I mean, speaking of the buildings and speaking of houses, there's another thing that Lagos State government precisely has come out to say, that they're indiscriminating rent increase, because we see, and the fees and pledging commitment to monthly payment of rent in Lagos. Now, the Lagos State government has reaffirmed its commitment to implementing monthly, quarterly, and yearly rent payments limited to a maximum of 1 year. Now, Mr. Moruf Akinderu Fatai, Commissioner for Housing, revealed this in a statement he jointly signed with Mr. Barakat Odunuga Bakare, Special Advisor to the Governor on Housing, on Wednesday, which was just 2 days ago. I mean, Fatai actually spoke during a recent exploratory meeting with executives of the Estate, Rent and Commission Agents Association of Nigeria, ERCAN. And he had noted that the government had advised professionals and trade groups within the real estate sector to address public concerns regarding the persistent and alarming increase in rent, as well as the imposition of unwarranted fees. He said that the government was actively engaging with stakeholders to ensure a smooth transition for the benefit of those seeking administration. Now, if I want to ask this question, how so is this going to work? How feasible it is going to happen in Lagos?
It is not rocket science. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Yes, and I make bold to say it.
Okay.
And I will give an explanation.
Oh, please, by all means.
Number one, during Fashola administration, we had so much of Lagos homes built around the city. And some that Fashola couldn't complete. Ambo, they, of course, don't let us...
That's a low housing scheme?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, when Sanwo-Olu came, Sanwo-Olu also, went back to some of these buildings and, completed some of them. I will also quickly go back to the era of late Alhaji Lateef Jakande. People still live in those Jakande houses. I went to attended Jakande school under free education. People still live in them. That's why they call them cockroach house. People still live in them across the states.
True.
And the way Jakande did it was so instrumental payment in a way that it was so convenient for those who
low income
earners,
medium income earners.
And but that is not seen in today.
We still make reference to late Jakande and even late Obafemi Awolowo of how many years. But can we say that of our present leadership? The answer is no. So let me come back to your question. All these Lagos homes that have been built around the city, most of them are still empty as we speak right now. And the reason being, and the fact remains, they ask you to pay, I think about 30 or 40%. I'm coming to that. They ask you to. These are the structures.
Government buildings
built by government. Government do
for
not
the
say
people.
For the people. Government do not say that you have to practice what you preach. Government do not say that you that are in need of homes or rent, come and rent these homes and pay on a monthly basis. Those are the ones that we believe that were constructed by taxpayers' money or money from federal allocations or money from IGR. So how come that the one built by our government that are supposed to be serving us are not even affordable? They will ask you to pay about 30 or 40%, out of the total cost of about either 20 million or 15 million, or depending on either is it 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom or So if those that are built by government are not being given out on a monthly basis, how much more the one that I suffered for, that I labored for to build, it can't work.
Okay, I mean, understanding the government's rationale, their motivation. But you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to say that it will have been a laudable thing because of the low income of most Nigerians. If you are going to have a
that's for wage, the government houses, though. Because if
he has talked about the government houses, but what I'm even saying is that this idea of government will have been very good and acceptable. And if, for instance, it's possible to implement it, if it is possible. But the problem is this: there are not enough houses. Governments have not built enough houses.
Okay.
People are struggling to provide this housing, for them to be able to survive and augment whatever income they are getting. Imagine somebody minimum wage 70,000 naira. What are you going to do with 70,000 naira in a month?
How much is your rent?
Ordinarily, one would have expected that those are the issues. But government themselves had made it impossible for us to have a housing program, housing plan, even by private persons. You can't get C of O in Lagos State today. It takes you many years to get it. Not only that, government is acquiring lands belonging to families all over Lagos. Where most of these housing estates that are private initiative, if you know what government is demanding from them, so it's hypocritical for government to come and be telling us that they want them to be paying monthly and quarterly and all of that, when what you collect officially from housing estate, private resident, land use charge, tenement rate is in the millions. So how do you want these people who pay so much to you? Where are they going to get the money to now allow their tenants
to
be
pay
paying monthly or pittance.
But do you think that this is an opportunity for landlords to increase the amount?
Obviously, it's going to go up because the demand outstrip the supply of housing in Lagos.
This is not the first time that Lagos State is talking about this matter. Even under Governor Fashola, when he was governor of Lagos State, when he was building all these massive Lagos homes, if you go and they have a kind of structure that you know.
It's a Lagos home.
When you see it, you know it, that this is built by government. Most of them, I challenge you, go and verify. Most of them are still
they're not
empty.
housed.
And you see people living under the bridge. You see people sleeping on top of the bridge. I don't know. And like I said, government must practice what they preach. If you are telling the landlords that have suffered, that have labored so much to gather money to build maybe over 5-10 years or thereabouts, you are telling them, of course, it is also not expected that you realize the money you have spent in building maybe 2 or 3 story buildings in one rent. Fine, but if government indeed, like the barrister said, is a laudable idea because of the minimum wage being paid, and we know that we have low income earners mostly in Lagos State and even across
almost 80% of Nigerians.
So it's a laudable idea, but government must fire the first shot by also demonstrating that we are practicing
all those charges, those charges, levies. They should bring it down to the barest minimum. Government should also assist.
Barrister is talking from a personal opinion. Yes,
it costs up to
from experience.
From experience,
there should be a mortgage system. We don't have a mortgage system in Nigeria.
Okay.
If whether for rental or for buying of houses, and that's a big problem
over there abroad. Everything is on mortgage. There
are government flats. Government builds flats.
I know people that have moved. Some of my family or my friends that have moved from one place, from one building to the other. When their family is enlarging, they move from one room apartment to either
to 2 bedroom to 3 bedrooms. And
what made it so easy? Because you don't pay at once. You don't do that. If you even bring money, they'll be asking, where did you get this money from?
Yeah, it's questionable.
But because of the mortgage system that is workable, because of the instrumental system, you also go to the bank.
You can also take credit.
So those are the things that houses, we also need to also implement, to also ensure we do in this part of the world. But I think we are getting there. But for government to say that people should be paying rent, I said during Fashola, landlords were telling people that go and look for government. You want to pay rent for 1 month. Maybe there are government houses. Go and rent government houses and pay for 1 month.
All right, you can react to any of these stories on the spotlight if you may. 0705-6900927. First of all, it was the warning of floods and the dangers ahead across the country, and also the Lagos State seeking to reduce the cost of rent in the state and making available monthly, quarterly, and biannual rent. Well, 0705-6900927. Well, I'm seeing something now. The 15th of September 2022, the Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, called on the promulgation of the law that allows tenants to pay monthly rent. But looking at the situation in Nigeria, it's difficult to say if it is achievable. This was by a property lawyer, Mr. Sheun Ajayi, speaking on the possibility of a monthly tenancy payment. You don't think it can work?
It can't work.
Okay, let's take this quick call. Let's take this quick call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. What is your name and where are you calling me from?
My name is Mr. Emeka and I'm calling from Trade Fair.
Mr. Emeka from Trade Fair. Oh, it's great to have you, Mr. Emeka. Yes. Talk to us.
Yeah, good morning, Council. Well done, sir. And the other guests.
Okay. They applaud you.
Good morning. Good morning. Nice to have you.
Yeah, good morning. Yes, sir. It is not practicable and it is not possible.
How so?
If you go to do concept or see of school, if you see the amount of money they call for churches for such things and the processes you will go through, you will see that it's not true. It cannot work. They have not provided any facilities for all the houses in Lagos. In fact, every landlord has his or her own borehole. No facilities to the houses. What they do is just come, do examination, then they will collect bribe. Some of them collect bribe and then run away. They will not come back and say your house is not strong, this and that. There is no incentive to the landowners and landlords. At the time, take the Land Use Act they give people every year. And then they want you to be collecting monthly rent and then be paying them. Paying those, Land Use Act fees. So it is not possible. It's not practicable.
All right.
I think it's a political statement. It's a political statement.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. He says the political statement. We have a message here. Say, good morning, crew. Olamilekan from Lagos. There is a saying, prior proper preparation prevents poor performance. Concerning the traffic lockdown in Lagos, it could have been preventable. This similar issue happened last year where Lagos was flooded and the governor was giving schoolboy excuse. The same rainfall exposed the governor this year and he's still apologizing. With the billions daily generated in Lagos through taxes and agri collections, what is it used for? No water in Lagos, no low-cost housing in Lagos, no public toilets. We have high open defecations, etc. This will still happen next year and he will still apologize. It shows lack of capacity, incompetence, lack of vision, visionary government. You can't give what you don't have. It's a shame and the worst of us is ruling the best of us. Truly, there was a country. Well, I mean, when it got to wrap things up in 1 minute each. Oh, 30 seconds. I've been give you 30 seconds. What do you think about these conversations that we've had today with the flood?
Well, for me, I think we must be our brothers' keepers. And we must collectively rise up to the occasion. We can't leave everything to government. That means we are joking. If we want to leave everything, we want to leave our lives to government to decide for us, that means we are doing that at our own peril. We must ensure that we do the needful. Where we need to raise alarm, if somebody is doing what is illegal, we should raise alarm. If you see something, please say something to save the lives of the rest of us.
Thank you so much,
yes,
Mr.
I think
Taiwo
government
Alakpade.
should be up and doing. Our government had been inept over time. There is a need for them to rise. There is a need for them to listen to the people and do things that will be in the interest of the people.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was Barrister Deji Olale, who's a university lecturer and public affairs analyst, alongside Mr. Taiwo Olakpade, who's a broadcast journalist and public affairs commentator. Thank you so much for coming into the studio and having this conversation with me.
Wonderful
I hope
time with you.
that, wonderful time as well. I hope the government is listening, and we have come to a wrap with the Spotlight conversation. Sports 927 happens now. Alex Elias Agbasiere is on standby, and yes, we will be back by 9:30 for the Big Breakfast Game Show. All right. 9 o'clock is the sports. Yes, Sports 927 by 9 o'clock. By 9 o'clock. We have to go, but I mean, I'm sure you had such a great time. Like we've said, and the wrap up of all of this is in your hands as is in the government's hands. If you see something, say something.
92.7 Super FM.
Taste it, the richness so amazing.